in overtime. They had a chance, blocked field goal, and ended up in the tie. Up 21-7 in the fourth quarter. Cleveland bounces back to tie and scores 14 in the fourth quarter. And, you just kind of see. We saw Antonio Brown get a little frustrated on the sidelines. Even though he had 9 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown, he was getting a little frustrated and whatnot. And he just felt it's like, oh, man, they couldn't quite get over the hump. T.J. Watt, by the way, who blocked the field goal, outside of his mind, 8 tackles, 4 sacks, and the blocked field goal. Golly. Yeah. And which was always my worry about the Browns was the offensive line. They did render 7 sacks to the Steelers, 4 obviously by T.J. Watt, but also some more. But Tyrod, man, I don't know. I thought he would be able to. I thought he'd play better. I think if he has another performance or two like that, it will be Baker Mayfield time, no doubt. But also, they stayed true with the Rock. Carlos Hyde got the ball 22 times. Nick Chubb got 3 carries. Duke Johnson got 5 carries. Tyrod
rushed 8. He rushed 8 times. Yep.
Jarvis Landry got him over 106 yards receiving still.
Tyrod actually had the most rushing yards on the team. I was trying to look at that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. 8 for 77. So, but they stayed after it, stayed grinding it out and everything. Ended up in a tie. But yeah, man, super ugly game. That rain started coming down too. I mean, it was Cleveland. I wish they could have pulled it out, man. They were so close. But like I said, a tie for Cleveland against Pittsburgh week 1, it's a win. It's their best start since, 2004, something like that?
Yeah. But, I mean, there's a lot of something else that came up, I guess, the day after the game was the call on, was it Miles Jack with the roughing the QB? I think it was Miles Jack.
Well, it can't be Miles Jack. That's Jacksonville.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm lost. I forgot who the
TJY.
No. It was a hit. It was a hit on Roethlisberger. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, it was Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. Sorry,
yeah.
Wrong last.
Blocked
name.
and he was low. Yeah, he was blocked and was low. It was the catch-22.
Yeah, it was one of those things, and I believe the league came out and said that that was the wrong call. So they should have made that call. Wouldn't have got the penalty. Now you're doing a different thing in that particular possession. So again, it goes back to all the shoulda, coulda, woulda. If Tyrod would have maybe been a little bit more accurate with the ball, maybe you got it a little bit closer. Maybe you pull that one out. I mean, this was the closest you get. It ended in a tie,
right?
And for what it's worth, Ben fumbled the ball twice in the game.
Yep.
So I mean, they were careless with the ball over there on the Pittsburgh side too. I think we missed.
Connor had a fumble as well too.
Was that now?
I said Connor had a fumble as well too.
Right, but we also there's a couple things we're kind of missing here, and one of the things is definitely like the defenses of these two teams, and how they played. Yeah, that's pretty good defense, and this game ended in a tie. Now, if the offense would have done what they were supposed to do on both sides of the ball, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. We still won't know. All I know is it was a tie, and this is going to come back to haunt somebody near playoff time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think there's some yes and no's. I mean, again, there was guys open for Cleveland, and Tyrod just underthrew them, and just couldn't get them the ball. The secondary for Pittsburgh wasn't great. He just couldn't get off. He just couldn't get it to him for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, it's tied. They move on from here. We'll see, what path they take them. But I mean, if you're the Pittsburgh organization and whatnot, what are we doing here? Let's be clear. What are we doing? Because now, as per usual, now we got Ben Roethlisberger, undisclosed injury. Oh, he's going to be slow this week. We don't really know what's going on there. You got AB that was frustrated, and the players talking about Bell. You got Bell with the tweet after the game with the spyglass on. Like, what does he see? I mean, at the end of the day, Bell, Connor played well. I mean, granted, is he Bell? No, I'm not saying he is, but 34 touches for right at 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Connor played well. Right. But what are we doing?
Sounds like a good start for second down.
Yeah. Man. Help me understand.
Look, first of all, we know the Steelers. We know they're a well-respected organization. We know the history. We know they have the most Super Bowl rings. The history of them as far as head coaches go. The turnover is not heavy like some other teams we know. I mean, what have they had? 3 head coaches in the last, 40 years? I mean,
at least 40, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, stability is a word you shove in the descriptor box right next to the Steelers. Okay? Mm-hmm. Championships, another word you shove in the descriptor box next to the Steelers. I don't know what's going on, but I know this. Okay? A lot of blame starting to be passed around out here, and it kind of started over the last couple of seasons. It started with a lot of it started with Big Ben and his desire to play, and a lot of it started with Antonio Brown and his deal, and whether he wanted to re-sign with the Steelers, and some of his antics, and then now the Le'Veon Bell situation's gone on for the last 3 seasons at least, right? I mean, you've got all these things happening, some of the other political issues or whatever that have taken place, last season and the season before, and all this, and like, you're in the middle of all that. You're not going to any Super Bowls. You're not going in the playoffs. You're not going deep in the playoffs. And now, here's where we start to cast blame. Guys that usually were on the same side, now they're on a different side. The offensive line used to love Le'Veon Bell. This past week, like, everybody's talking bad about Le'Veon. Like, like he's the worst thing that ever happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got people doing interviews trying to find all kinds of things wrong or in Antonio Brown's background, and how he deals with people outside of football. We got Ben Roethlisberger talking on his radio show about whether or not, he wants to continue to play as the starting QB. Then you've got all the injuries. And then at the top of all of that, you've got, does the coach still have control of the locker room? So to me, this is the beginning of the demise of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, we know it started earlier than that, but once you start laying those words out in the media, does the coach have control of the locker room? Now we got a problem. Now it's going to be time to blow it all up if you don't do certain things. Translation, if you guys ain't going to the Super Bowl the playoffs deep, or you ain't going to the Super Bowl, it's going to be time to make a change. And I think that's where Pittsburgh is right now. Le'Veon's going to be gone, and now they're going to be left with whatever's left on their roster, and it's going to get worse from there.
Yeah, I just, we talk about certain teams being drama-filled or something's going on all the time or whatever the case may be, and, Pittsburgh never gets put in that cast. Nope. But, man, there just is, whether it's, like you said, whether it's been, I want to play, I don't want to play, or, you get a quarterback drafted in the 3rd round, and he's got a ton to say about that, and then 2 weeks later, it's fine, whatever, on top of, he could have a hangnail, and he's out here, I'm just going to do the best I can, he's just a little extra, whatever the case may be.
You leave Benny alone.
I hear you, and then AB, whether it's the Facebook Live video after the game and Tomlin's talking and, just different things like that. The defense hasn't been able to get right. There's been issues with that. And I don't know. I mean, it just seems like there's always something going on around them. The bail in, the bail out, now here we are. Now it's transferred over to Twitter. Apparently now we have an unnamed guy in the locker room said, well, Bell effed us, and that's being reported, but we're not putting a name to him. Even Big Ben even spoke on that. Oh, well, and look, let's be clear about this real quick. Ben's quote on that was, well, the offensive line is more important than any skill position, guys, including myself. Ben doesn't have the credit line.
He doesn't have the cachet.
He does not have the cachet to make that statement. There's other guys and quarterbacks in this league that can do that, and I can buy that. Big Ben's not one of them.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
If Drew Brees wants to say that,
yes,
I'm buying that. I'm buying that. Okay, all day long.
Phillip Rivers.
Yes. I'll buy Phillip Rivers. I'll buy Phillip Rivers. That guy though, no, you can't make that statement. No, you just can't. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is the beginning of the end. I think for sure the quick remedy, you kind of got a chance to see Connor. If you can move Bell and get you something, move Bell and get you something. You don't want to pay him. You're going to use the analytics of, but once you hit this number of touches, it's downhill. Well, now that's backfired because now Bell says, well, dang, y'all just gave Connor the ball how many times real quick? 31 carries, another 5 receptions. That's 36. Y'all would have given it to me probably 40 times. So you're not going to use me and I hit that magical number and not pay me, and then I have to deal with that with somebody else. I'll save these reps in my body for the team that will pay me.
Right. And he's absolutely right in that regard. And also, hey, look, it's all well and dandy what the kid did this past week while Le'Veon was out, James Conner. However, I mean, that kid just kind of basically got over a health scare himself in the last couple of years or few years before he got drafted. So, I mean, how long does that hold up?
I mean, things you definitely have to think about for sure.
Right. I mean, there's that. And then, you know, I mean, what's the conversation that we had the other day? I mean, like, normally it's like over the last 3 seasons, right? 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, normally it's something like, if you're not hearing about the Patriots and Deflategate or the Patriots and, you know, Tom Brady's special doctor or, you know, the Patriots and, you know, the relationship between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the owner, you know, it's that, or it's, you know, heck, what's even going on in the Giants locker room with Odell? Are they keeping him? Are they trading him? You
right.
know, and some of the other things and some other organizations. I mean, like, past all that, the team that's been consistent that we've been hearing about is Pittsburgh. And that's not how, look, man, I'm an old guy. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm an old guy. I'm over 40, okay? For as long as I can remember, man, I think the last little bit of drama I heard about the Pittsburgh Steelers that may have been notable was when Cordell Stewart was the quarterback, and they called him Slash, and they couldn't make up their mind whether he was going to be the QB or he was going to be a wide receiver. Like, that's the last big bit of whatever, you know, big to-do over in Pittsburgh that I've heard in the longest while. And it's just like, this is so uncharacteristic of this organization. I mean, I don't know. They either get rid of the coach or, I mean, you know, it's Pittsburgh. I could see them doing something crazy like, well, hire a consultant, maybe Bill Cowher, you know, and try and make sure everything's going nice and smooth inside that, you know, inside the top of the chain and inside the locker room as far as the coaches go, you know, someone to talk to the players, kind of like smooth it out, call them a special consultant. You know what I mean? And see how it works. And let that experiment run its course for a season or two. And if that doesn't work, well, you fire the coach.
Man, it would seem over the past, I'll call it 3 years, give or take. I'm going to call it 3 years. They're just, it seems like behind the scenes and whatnot, they've just kind of become dysfunctional.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of some of that. And now, with all these things these guys have been saying and everything, and Bell wants to come back and get that accredited year, how is that going to work when you insert him back into that locker room and stuff? Because here's the thing. Let them lose or let them look somewhat whatever next week. Right. You think Bell's not going to tweet again? And that's the change in the game now. Yeah. He tweeted this week. He's going to tweet again. You know, so I don't know, man. Like I said, it maybe comes down to it's the closing of that window with those guys. Right. You know, I mean, they still got some strong points on the offense. Whereas Brown, you know, you got Juju in there now. You know, now we don't know how long Bill wants to play. We thought he was about to retire a year or two ago, back-to-back years, but now we don't know how long he wants to play. The defense, as we've documented before, has not been able to turn over, you know, and some of that's going to be on Tomlin's head because he's a defensive guy. Right. You know, but yeah, it's just always a little chirping here, chirping there, a little just whatever, and you just look at it like, I mean, out of nowhere, out of everything we've seen about them supporting Bell and everything, and then just, boom, avalanche. Where did that come? To me, it has to come from management, right? Right. Because, I mean, Mike Tomlin is the kind of guy you would think, like, hey, we're not going to say this, we're not going to say that, right? It has to be coming from somewhere else, in my opinion. But I don't know. But, yeah, for what a lot of other teams in the league get characterized as being drama-filled or different things like that, you know, Pittsburgh definitely doesn't get their share of it. And over the past 3 years, you know, definitely that for them. They've definitely fit the mold and the bill